Okay, I definitely know I'm on the right track. Check this out. Righteousness is not turning your faces towards the east or west. Rather, the righteous are those who believe in God, the last day, the books, and the prophets. So those are beliefs. The next thing it says, these are actions now, who give charity out of their cherished wealth to relatives, orphans, the poor, travelers, beggars, and for freeing captives. I wonder if that's freeing slaves. Would that mean the same thing? Who establish the prayer, pay the alms tax, and keep the pledges they make. Keep the pledges they make. And who are patient in times of suffering, adversity, and in the heat of battle. It is they who are true in faith, and they who are mindful of God. So I think that I have to be on the right track here. I'm so curious if this is a controversial opinion or not. But the thing is, the thing that I always find about religion that annoys me is people following rules without understanding the rules that they're following. Because I think that if God has a plan for you, and if, let's just say that this book is understanding the objective universe, how it is, why would God give you rules that don't make any sense? For example, right? Like the pork thing. I was thinking about that. And like, pork isn't good for you. It really isn't. They eat garbage. Carrion. I found out that it's just picking up a dead animal. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. Drinking alcohol, it's bad for you. It's bad for you. It's poison. It's like low-grade poison. So it's telling you, like, hey, it's trying to, I feel like this religion so far is very, very practical. But I feel like a lot of people are not practical, so they just get the rules. And I think that this ayah is kind of refuting that idea of just the rules. It reminds me of when Jesus came to the Jews and basically told the Jews, you guys are following all these rules, but what about the Spirit? Seems like when I get into the Bible later, we're definitely going to discuss that. But 177, again, righteousness is not turning your faces towards the east or the west. Rather, righteousness are those who believe in God, the last day, the angels of the books, and who give to charity, and so on and so forth. So what does that tell you? It is not these little rules that you do, right? It's telling you things like, okay, so you have these beliefs. So you believe in God, you believe in the angels, you believe in the books. Okay, you believe in the books and the prophets. Wouldn't that mean then the books as they were revealed in the time that they were revealed? Like what I've noticed, I mean, when you look at like the Bible, you look at the Torah, the Old Testament, the New Testament, they have longer stories on the other prophets, which also begs the question, does Islam, how much emphasis do Muslims put on the other prophets of God? Like how much emphasis do Muslims put on Abraham? How much emphasis do Muslims put on Moses or on Noah? How much do you guys know about him, about these human beings? Is it a religion that shares all the, because I know it's an Abrahamic religion, or is it only focused on one prophet, or is the prophets spread? Like, can you look at everybody as like a life lesson, which is kind of how I look at it? Because at the very least, I would say that the Bible would be a book. Let's just say I take the most secular perspective. I would say at the very least, the Bible is stories passed down from generation to generation to generation, that are telling people the stories of the past and telling people to be careful. And if you have to actually be able to read it to understand like human history. For example, Adam and Eve, I think that it's a story of consciousness and how consciousness gives you anxiety, which I think I want to get into later, but I think it's a story of consciousness. And when you're aware of the future from eating the apple, when you're aware of the future, you get anxiety about the future. You start to overthink, and this is a punishment, but also a blessing. I think that's the story of Adam. So I'm curious what you guys think about the other prophets. But the idea is here, and check this out, right? It says those who give out of their cherished wealth to relatives. It's not about those who give money. It's almost like giving money to charity. It devalues the idea that money can be a god. So if you look at one of my other videos, I was talking about how you have to ask, like, what's your central vision of God? Who is God to you? Who is God to you? And what's your central vision? So if you're God, your God could be money. And this is almost acting like a protection not to slip up. Who believes in the God of money would want to give up the money? If you sacrifice your money for a greater ideal, you're detaching yourself for the love of money. Therefore, by this definition, you're really saving your soul from being in love with money. Again, it's not about not making money. It's about not losing yourself in the pursuit of riches. This is, I guess, the idea from what I learned about Jesus. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that one. I stopped myself. There's so many things. To your relatives. So it says first, wealth to relatives. Give to your family. Orphans, give to the orphans. The orphans are interesting because you could have been one. You could have been one. And if you weren't, you got to say thank you. The poor. So if you have more money than somebody else, it's like you should be thankful because maybe that money's not yours. If there is a creator of the universe, didn't that creator of the universe make it so you could have money? And therefore, if you give it away, it's a double thing, right? You can give it to somebody who needs it more than you do, but also it loses the attachment for you. It's like painful. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't want to give it, but you give it, and you're kind of like purifying yourself from the thing that's going to enslave you. Like money's it's a thing that enslaves you and like drags you towards this thing. You give it away, you're like, you're not really a god to me. Yeah, I like that idea. Beggars, freeing captives. So freeing captives, freeing slaves, I would assume. So there's a morality around slavery 1400 years ago. Who established prayer, pay alms tax, and keep pledges. Keep your pledges. Be a person that tells the truth and keeps their pledges, the pledges they make. Who are patient in times of suffering. This is what the straight path is. Adversity, and in the heat of battle, be patient. Don't break. Don't be weak. It is those who are true in faith. So God is telling you, like, throughout this book, I'm not even, what am I, 14 pages in? Throughout this book, so far in the 14 pages, God has reminded you the God of the Quran has reminded you over and over and over again that life's gonna get hard. You're gonna have famine. You're gonna be in battle. And whatever battle that means, does it have to be a battle of war, or can it be a battle within yourself? The battle of life. Be patient in the battle of life. That just seems like practical, good advice. Cool. I think I'm done with this one. Thanks for listening.